On November 17, 2016, here in Sedgwick County, Kansas, the defendant, Yesenia Sesmas, shot and killed Laura Barca in the head with a .40 caliber handgun. You will hear that it was at extremely close range, and you will learn that she brought that firearm with her from Dallas, Texas. You will learn that she brought that gun because she planned to do whatever was necessary to take Sophia, Laura's daughter, home with her to Texas to raise as her own. You will hear from Manuel Antonio Gonzalez, the father of Sophia. He will tell you he was excited to be a father. He will tell you that he came home on that date. He came home in front of this door, ready to come home. And what he found behind that door is not here to shock you, it's to tell you what happened to Laura. The next image is how Laura was found. You'll see that she is seated on a couch, that she is shot in the head, and you will see the Axon video of what officers saw at the scene. You will see that the TV was still on, and you will see no signs of a struggle. You will also hear about Sophia, baby Sophia. It's what should be called likely by a lot of witnesses. And you need to pay attention to the baby bed, because this is how she should have been found by Mr. Gonzalez. But what he found, and what crime scene investigators will document, is that bed is empty. That baby is not in Wichita. That child is 6 years old, 6 days old is what the evidence will show. Blood evidence on Laura's arms will show you that they were likely at her side when she was shot, that she had no ability to fight back. Dr. Kipper, the coroner in this case, will talk to you about the injuries that she sustained. He will show you the stippling on her forehead to show you that that firearm was placed at an extremely close range, a near contact wound. He will talk about the soot that he finds on the top of her forehead and in that wound. You will see evidence collected by crime scene investigators, including a shell casing found very near Laura. You will even see that the cell phone charger is there for a cell phone that's found nearby. That's a close-up of the shell casing that was left behind of the one round that was fired in that apartment. That round was submitted to the Regional Forensic Science Center. That round will match the firearm that killed Laura. That round, that casing, will match the firearm recovered from the defendant's home. You will hear from Lacey Webb. She is a person that knows Laura. She was staying in that far apartment that you see in this image. The far apartment, and there's a door off on the right that is Laura's apartment as you enter this building. She is at home from a break from work around 1:30 on Thursday the 17th. When she steps outside to get cigarettes, she sees an individual who she has identified as the defendant poke her head out of that apartment. You will hear that that Lacey knew Laura. She knew what she looked like. She knew that was not Laura. You will also hear from Guadalupe, Laura's mother, who lived at that apartment. She's going to tell you that she knew an individual by the name of Jesse, or Yessie, who she will identify as the defendant, that she saw there the day before, who came over with a pretty black truck and visited the family, saw Sophia. She will also tell you that Laura and her never discussed giving up Sophia, never putting her for adoption, never giving her to anyone. You will see photographs documenting the apartment where Laura died. You will see that that is a home ready to raise a child. Baby clothes, baby bed. It is not a home where Laura is planning to do anything other than keep that child. You will hear from Sergeant Rod Miller of the Wichita Police Department, who collects this phone. He collects it from near Laura's body, and it is this phone that breaks this case wide open. It is this phone that leads law enforcement to this defendant. It is this phone that brings Sophia back to Wichita. Law enforcement look inside this phone. You'll hear from multiple sources that the phone was searched. And this is a screenshot of the chat on what's called WhatsApp. It's a chat program that you can use like Facebook to talk back and forth, peer-to-peer. And you'll see that in this image, it's talking about Laura's phone number, 316-214-7044, and another individual's phone number, 316-689-1026, that is named Yesenia Abagita. You will learn that phone number is the defendant's phone number. That the conversations between Laura and this person are between Laura and the defendant. This is important because these messages are in Spanish. And law enforcement initially didn't know what to make of it until they had Eric Guzman translate it. He's a Wichita Police Department officer. He's able to look at those images and find that at around 1:30 in the afternoon on November 17th, that someone says, "It's me, it's friend." It becomes immediately apparent that this is an individual that they need to find. Law enforcement track that number, 316-689-1026. They search local records and find it associated with one name, Yesenia Sesmas. They immediately start looking for how to locate Ms. Sesmas, how to locate Sophia. They do that, and Detective Tennyson will tell you, they approach T-Mobile, which this number belongs to. They request historical data. They request cell phone pings. They request information about who has the phone. They do this in a very quick manner. They call it an exigent search. The reason why they do that is they have to find Sophia. And to do that, they learn that this phone was in the area of North Brunswick, where Laura was found shot and killed. Found that this number, this phone was used on the 17th in that neighborhood. They submit that information to the FBI. And why are the FBI involved? Because after the first day, there were no leads. They invite law enforcement officers from around the country to assist in locating Sophia. They have a law enforcement officer with the FBI named Joe Daniff who comes down from Kansas City. Part of what he does is he looks at those cell phone records and he starts to piece it together. He creates a trail of where that phone was in the 48 hours prior to receiving those records. And what he finds is that phone traveled from Wichita through Oklahoma down to Dallas. He also receives pings, or cell phone radar, for lack of a better word, where T-Mobile reaches out and tries to find where is the phone right now. And he will tell you that that phone is located not just in the area of North Brunswick, not just traveling north to south through Oklahoma into Texas, but at one address in Dallas, Texas, 910 Signet Street. He takes that information, based on the information that law enforcement have learned here in Wichita, and he submits that to Dallas police. And you will hear from a Dallas police detective who takes that information and does a local search for the name Yesenia Sesmas. And he finds utility records matching that address. They obtain a search warrant. They go to this address, 910 Signet Street. They organize their SWAT officers to conduct a rescue. They blow every door off this building. They go inside, and you will hear from the SWAT officer that went through this door into the master bedroom. You will see what he saw. As he walks in, he finds on the far side of that bed the defendant, Yesenia Sesmas, Closer to him on the bed is a male. And as you can see at the bottom of this picture, there is a baby to his immediate right next to the wall, located in that baby bed. They take that baby back. They take that baby to the hospital, and Detective Tennyson brings Sophia, that baby, back to Wichita. You will see in a search of 910 Signet Street that this house was prepared for a baby, that this house was prepared to raise a daughter. You will learn the name of Azul Marie, the name the defendant was going to call Sophia. You will also see that a bag was recovered there. And evidence will show that this bag was taken from Wichita, from the home where Laura was found shot and killed, and taken down to Dallas with Sophia. You will see that a firearm is recovered from the closet of the defendant. That firearm, that ammunition, will match the bullet that killed Laura. It will match the casing that was fired. And next to where the defendant is located, law enforcement find a cell phone, an Alcatel One Touch. And on that phone, you will find the motive in this case. Talked about the bullet, which was submitted to the Regional Forensic Science Center, submitted for testing. You will hear from a firearms examiner who will tell you it is a match. He examines the bullet that Scott Kipper recovers from Laura. He will tell you that that matches the firearm recovered in Dallas. But it is this Alcatel One Touch and what Detective Hans Asmussen with the Wichita Police Department is going to tell you, is going to show you the motive for what occurred. You're going to look at a decision made by the defendant to hold Laura's baby as her own. You're going to see WhatsApp messages, such as this one, where the defendant saves the address belonging to Laura. What you're going to learn from the WhatsApp conversations is that she asks, "How is the baby doing? How are you doing?" Constantly checking in. Never discussing anything more than how Laura is doing with the baby. Friendly conversations. She's going to tell the defendant, Laura is going to tell the defendant Sophia's name months before Sophia is born. She's going to tell the defendant that she is excited. There's going to be no conversation of ever giving that baby away. This photograph is going to be found on the defendant's phone. This photograph is going to be doctored. This photograph is going to be found on the defendant's phone. This photograph is going to be passed off as Marie Azul. This is a screenshot of the defendant sending messages to friends saying, "My baby's been born. I gave birth." Those are not pictures of the defendant. The evidence will show those are pictures of Laura Barker. As you can see, Laura has been removed from those photographs. This photograph will be found on the defendant's phone, a screenshot taken on the phone. It is important because when compared to this profile photograph that Laura put on WhatsApp, you can see she literally cut them out. She took them away. She took Sophia to raise as her own. You're also going to hear that the defendant was interviewed in Dallas. You're going to hear statements that she made to detectives. She's going to tell the police initially that she didn't kill Laura. She's going to tell them that all she did was find a man in Plainview and ask him to help her get the baby. That she gave this man $1,000 and that he was supposed to just tie Laura up and bring her the baby. That she didn't know what happened until later. When law enforcement officers confront her with the information that they've learned, specifically the gun. She says, "Oh, I gave him the gun." And but he was driving a red Pontiac. But yet they find in the back of her car this this car seat, which she had brought down to Dallas with her because she went there to get a baby. They will find on her phone this photograph of the gun that she bought weeks before the murder as she planned out her actions. They will show you this photograph found on the defendant's phone from September of the baby shower that she had as she was expecting a girl, showing you that she was planning to bring a girl. But she will shockingly tell you is that she wasn't pregnant. She had lost her baby. She was continuing to eat food to remain looking pregnant. They will find these photographs of Sophia on the defendant's phone that, again, she sends out as her daughter. Photographs, and if you pay attention again to the baby bed, were taken in Laura's apartment on the 16th, the day before the murder. Detective Asmussen will look at GPS data on the defendant's phone and show that on the 15th, the defendant is in Dallas. And on the 16th, she is in the neighborhood, corroborating what Guadalupe said, corroborating those pictures and when they were taken. You will see pictures of the defendant when she was arrested in the blonde highlights, the hair that, as Lacey Webb described, when she saw the defendant poke her head out of the defendant's apartment. You will see a picture of a black truck, a pretty black truck as Guadalupe has described it, seen at the scene. And when they confront the defendant that black truck was seen, but no red Pontiac, that's when she admits that she put the gun to Laura's head. That's when she admits that she pulled the trigger. That's when she admits that she shot and killed Laura Barca. What you will not hear, what you will not see, is any evidence in the phones, any evidence from her family that Laura was ever going to give the defendant her baby. But the defendant told the officers that's why this occurred, that there was an agreement for her to get that baby, that Laura was going to give her Sophia. We can't find any evidence of that. We won't have any evidence to show you that. Guadalupe will tell you that Laura was excited to be a mother. Behind this door, that's where she left her. And what the evidence will show is she didn't render any aid to her friend. She didn't make any attempt to call 911. This was not an accident. She planned to go to Wichita from Dallas. She put a car seat in the back. She took a .40 caliber handgun. It was loaded with ammunition. She drove to Wichita. She went to the house. She looked at the house. She asked Laura questions. When does your boyfriend go to work? Is your mom going to be home? When you're alone, I'll come over and take care of you. The evidence will show that this defendant had a plan to take Sophia by any means necessary, including killing her friend by shooting her in the head. Based on this evidence at the end of the trial, we will speak to you again, and we will ask you to return verdicts of guilty to first-degree murder, to kidnapping, and to interference with parental custody. Thank you, Your Honor.